I think that you, Samantha Bee, are grossly overrated. I don't want to say grossly overrated. I think you're immensely untalented, unfunny, to a point that I very rarely use the word offensive, but you are offensively unfunny. And what bothers me even more is that a no-talent, mediocre nothing wants to remove voices simply because they disagree with her and they happen to be more successful than her. Question of the day. Now, we've talked about big tech's clear censorship and throttling of the right for a while. And we'll discuss that in relation to Samantha Bee and PragerU, the most recent controversy. But to conservatives out there, I'm curious, what would be required, I mean, if anything, for you to call for the banning or shadow banning of a left-wing channel or a host like Samantha Bee, short for B? I've never seen a mass movement like this from the right. Like, I've seen boycotts, but I've never seen anyone on the right calling for channels or hosts to be removed. So it's just a thought exercise. I'm curious to hear your thoughts.
It's a little desperate.
All right, so some context here. Samantha Bee's, her latest crusade is about proving that conservatives are not being censored on social media. According to Samantha Bee, big tech is actually bowing to the right's demands. And she was talking specifically about PragerU. Let's before we get to PragerU, let's just take this, and I'm so sorry that you have to watch these clips, and I know this is the only place anyone's seeing Samantha Bee. Let's go to clip A. I'm very tired.
Last week, a major pro-Trump PAC ran Facebook ads that falsely claimed Joe Biden criminally abused his power, a lie that misinforms voters about Trump's impeachment case. The only thing Joe Biden has criminally abused is this ice cream cone.
Oh, boy.
I don't think I have the strength. I don't think I can do this today.
Yeah, it hurts.
Well,
It's difficult, the stupid.
You did say that Trump was guilty for saying I'd gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk and they would take action against the state prosecutor. They didn't, so they said they had. They were walking out to a press conference. I said, nah, I'm not going to. I'm not going to give you the $1 billion. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting the $1 billion. You're not getting the $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here in, I think it was about 6 hours. And I looked at him and said, I'm leaving in 6 hours if the prosecutor is not fired. You're not getting the money.
Wow.
Well, son of a bitch, he got fired. Oh, wait, I think you know, spoiler, that was Joe Biden.
Oh.
I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting the $1 billion. I said, you're not getting the $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, 6 hours? I looked, I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Well, son of a bitch. Got fired.
Am I the only one who doesn't believe that that man ever quit drinking? For 3 years, the leftist media falsely claimed that Donald Trump colluded with Russia, that he abused his powers, that he obstructed investigations. He was acquitted of all of these charges. Should every member of the DNC be banned from Facebook?
I do believe so, yes.
I
do not believe so.
By the way, this is important because she's been pushing these lies for a long time. From painting Brett Kavanaugh as a rapist, also a racist, I'm sure. Yes. Spreading the Donald Trump, the P-tape hoax.
This time last year, Republicans fast-tracked this poison ivy leaguer to the Supreme Court, despite credible accusations of sexual assault. Just one of those classic moments where the first black president gives a farewell speech while the next president watches two chicks piss on a bed.
I don't even know.
What's with that jacket, too, the wardrobe?
Yeah. It looks like she's about to convince a small Iowa town that she's a band director.
Yes.
I don't know if anybody's seen Music Man.
It looks like like Waldo would swipe right for her on Tinder. All right, let's go next clip.
I'm sorry, it's in my head now.
Conservatives love to claim they're actually the victims of bias from social media companies.
People are very concerned that conservative voices are going to be suppressed on social media.
These social media outlets censor public figures who are conservatives.
Cruz isn't the only conservative who thinks big tech is hiding his posts because he's right-wing. They even have a special name for it.
They shadow ban Jim Jordan and Mark Meadows and Ronna McDaniel.
Every day I receive thousands of messages saying I'm being shadow banned.
To be clear, there's no evidence that shadow banning conservatives is a thing, even though the president has been collecting his own data.
I have people come up to me, sir, we want to follow you. They don't let us on.
She's right in a manner of speaking, and that conservatives aren't being shadow banned anymore. They're being outright banned.
That's true.
This can look absurd if your audience is not aware of what's been happening with social media, but anyone who's been following it knows that this is true. Apple, they've banned apps just for being pro-life, right? Same thing with Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. They've all banned sites like InfoWars along with other conservatives. This is important to note. We'll get to our situation in the Vox apocalypse. Again, sorry, guys. I really didn't mean for it to happen. So let's move on to my favorite topic to be berated on from comedians, the banning of free speech or any views with which they disagree. Here she goes on PragerU.
PragerU is actually a massively successful part of a growing hub of the online right-wing media machine. They have been funded by GOP mega donors, and their videos are specifically aimed at middle school and high school children. Even worse, those videos get billions of views. PragerU is actually dangerous. They are reaching a new, younger audience with bullshit conservative propaganda. They trick kids into thinking their videos are educational, even though PragerU is as much of a real college as Monsters University. PragerU, which itself is short for Prager University, as in their own website saying, Prager University is not an accredited academic institution, but it is a place where you are free to learn.
So comedians are fact-checking cute titles as opposed to you being literal with your full frontals, Samantha Bee? By the way,
nobody wants to see that.
Spoiler alert, this show isn't even definitively all that louder.
We haven't had tests returned yet.
It's just unreal to me that a comedian is wanting to give someone flack for having university in the name because it's an educational series of videos. I just didn't use my plural because of the French Canadian. Blame my mother. Do they think baby Einstein? Like, what are they furious if their 3-year-old is not a member of Mensa?
Yeah.
No, it's something else that's really important here. You know how they always accuse the right of secret dog whistles, like racist dog whistles? Remember socialists? We've said, hey, I think it's a socialist policy. They were saying, well, that's because you secretly want to use the N-word. So everything's become a racist or sexist or homophobic dog whistle. Well, here's something, if we're going to use that standard of dog whistle, that isn't really a dog. It's just a whistle because everyone can hear it.
Yes, exactly.
Samantha Bee goes on to claim that PragerU is really dangerous, and she tweeted that out, reiterated it. And that's important. Why? Because that's specifically what YouTube policies prohibit. If you look them up right here, YouTube dangerous content. There we go. You got an overlay. So when you say that a YouTube channel is dangerous, what you are definitively saying here, there's no doubt you're saying, please ban this channel.
Right.
You have looked up the YouTube policies. A reason for banning, legitimate reason, according to YouTube, is if they are a dangerous channel.
Right.
And you've accused the old Jewish white-haired guy who just supports Israel, free speech, and lower taxes of effectively being a dangerous Nazi. By the way, if you're watching this on YouTube right now, as opposed to Mug Club, where we have extended and full-length shows that you don't get every day on YouTube, please do hit the notification bell, hit all notifications on YouTube, because subscriptions don't mean a whole lot. And do consider joining Mug Club. Okay, I think we have.
Do it.
This next clip, this is one of the most consistent logical fallacies that you hear a lot.
Right.
And it's because it's hard to sort of check against.
There's no anti-conservative bias on social media.
Oh, because you said so.
On Facebook, right and left-leaning pages get nearly identical rates of reactions, comments, and shares, with conservative media outlets such as Fox News consistently getting some of the most engagement.
Okay. It couldn't be less relevant. Here's all that proves that conservatives are doing well despite shadow banning. This is something that a lot of people, outright banning, this is something a lot of people get wrong. Happened a lot with Phelps, the swimmer. It turned out that he ate McDonald's almost every day.
Yeah.
We're like, well, it worked for Phelps. No, it didn't work for Phelps. He probably would have been better had he not eaten McDonald's every day. Yeah. But if you were graced by God with a 9-foot wingspan, hands the size of an albatross's wings, and a size 19 shoe that could be put up in a museum, then maybe you too could eat McDonald's every day. It doesn't mean that he ate McDonald's, therefore he's successful. Hey, conservatives have the same net engagements after all of this, therefore they're not being throttled. No, that's not the case. Maybe their content is doing so much better than the leftist content that it breaks through anyway, despite the fact that we have videos, definitive lists showing the blacklist of conservative content. You do have to look at the root cause of this, not at the results. And that is important. Yeah, we have this right here. This has happened with us, of course. Pinterest shadow banned live action. They labeled them pornography. Ben Shapiro commentary was censored. Planned Parenthood undercover videos, they were marked as harmful. Let me make sure I get this correct right here. There's so many. I'd forgotten about these. Marked as harmful. Facebook, right? Yeah. Facebook, their fact checker, Snopes. They've repeatedly shadow banned right-wing satire site Babylon Bee, labeling it as fake news.
It's too close
right
to
now, if you go on the Crowder Bits channel, the 7+1 ways celebrities are fighting climate change, which included, by the way, Lizzo turning herself into a raw milk share, is fact-checked by YouTube as being climate change propaganda. It's not even expressing an opinion. If you search up until very recently, Steven Crowder changed my mind. If you search that on YouTube, that was blacklisted for a long time with no videos. from this channel showing up in search results. Granted, months later, YouTube, yep, they fixed it. Thank you guys, we appreciate that. But a lot of searches are still blacklisted. For example, right now, if you search Steven Crowder abortion, you're not going to see any videos from this channel on the first page of results. And here's what matters, right? Just because we caught that, and that's a good thing, and we got it fixed when you type in Steven Crowder changed my mind. At one point, I think it was going to a PBS video from 4 years ago with 20,000 plays. Please tell me how that algorithm will make you more profitable, Google Alphabet Inc. I'm very curious, but what does matter? What are the chances if you specifically search Steven Crowder abortion and it doesn't show up, that when you type in abortion debate, it shows up? When you type in pro-life arguments, that it shows up? If you type in Steven Crowder changed my mind in the title of the video and it doesn't show up, what happens if you type in Second Amendment discussion? Will it show up? So you can have no hope to actually be suggested alongside the likes of Samantha Bee if people are specifically searching for content they've already seen from you, happen to know the title by rote, and they still can't find you. But then at the end of the day, because you guys, and we thank you so much, you bookmark this page, check in every day because we have new videos that go up at 8 p.m. Eastern every day. The plays, if you were to look at them, you'd say, oh, wow, they're doing well. We're doing well in spite of all of that. And that is, by and large, because unlike Samantha Bee, who's propped up by a multi-conglomerate corporation, we're not funded by a foreign caliphate like the Young Turks or some giant corporation like Viacom TBS. It's by hand-etched mugs and you and your boxers with a can of Cheetos.
I see you
and
right
we love
there.
you.
Run the clip, please.
There's literally no evidence that conservatives are being silenced, which makes the fact that tech companies are bowing to their demands even more insane. In response to accusations of bias, Facebook partnered with right-wing organizations to fact-check posts and hired John Kyle, a former Republican senator, to do an audit of the site. Zuckerberg also had at least 2 private meetings with Donald Trump at the White House, but don't worry, nothing shifty happened.
People would say the optics weren't good. Did he try to lobby you in any way?
No, I mean, I don't think that's. I think some of the stuff that people talk about or think gets discussed in these discussions are not really how that works.
Oh, okay. So the premise here is that there's literally no evidence of conservatives being censored, which is, of course, false. Just type in Facebook blacklist, YouTube blacklist. You can find these things, and you can type them in our channel. But then Samantha Bee says that big tech is bowing to the demands of conservatives just by having one conservative or Republican at the table. Samantha Bee, this proves that you don't believe your own premise because you think that even a single conservative being involved with big tech is some sort of capitulation.
Yeah.
We can make an inference there that you believe big tech is, by and large, 100% left-leaning, and that it should be 100% left-leaning. You maybe believe it's 99%. If there's one conservative, it's a problem, and you want it to be what? 100%? What's the number? So far, again, YouTube, Google, Facebook, they mentioned one conservative organization there. We're talking about fact checking.
Yeah.
They also have Southern Poverty Law Center, far left organizations. Southern Poverty Law Center, ADL, Snopes, BuzzFeed, I don't know how Salon to fact check.
They can't even fact check themselves, much less anybody else.
I thought they were too busy promoting pedophiles.
They were.
So I just want to be really clear here. If we want to compare, go tit for tat, then please show me the counterbalance to all these leftist sources. And apparently Zuckerberg it's bowing to conservatives' demands. I don't understand this. It's making the field slightly less uneven. Keep in mind too, something else, YouTube partners with Vox. They're producing a show with Vox. They promote them on what is it, the YouTube Learning channel? I don't even know what that is, but it's a thing. And then they just recently invested in the Young Turks journalism project.
Oh my gosh.
We now know what it would take to please Samantha Bee. I think that's the silver lining from this segment. Think about it. What Samantha Bee wants is for us to ban the only right-wing educational channels that are available. This is a channel, by the way. It's not enough that they already have their content marked as age-restricted, and of course that they are demonetized. So this is one thing. PragerU is in a lawsuit right now because they're videos that have no profanity, that really don't have all that controversial content.
No.
Age-restricted, demonetized. Well, content like Samantha Bee, I don't know if they're entirely monetized, but I see ads running on them all the time. So it seems to me like we have a world with Samantha Bee where she says PragerU is dangerous, which is not a dog whistle. It's simply very basic speak for please remove this channel. They want them. What is the ideal world? Does anyone else know?
I can't. I mean, No right-wing voices at all?
It seems
no
to me
center voices
that
at all?
Right now, the only scenario in which Samantha Bee is happy is if every single right-leaning channel is removed. Because here's the thing.
Yeah.
We've talked about this before when people like Alex Jones, who I know isn't necessarily conservative, or people who are more controversial figures are removed. If someone wants PragerU removed, they effectively want all voices of dissenting opinion removed from the platforms of modern life. It's important to note that, by the way. This is how people communicate. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, basically 3 companies. When you're talking about Facebook, owns Instagram.
Right.
This is the town square, the open town square. And unfortunately, you have people like Samantha Bee who go out there, or people who work for other giant corporations, whether it's NBC, Vox, or ABC, Viacom, or Disney, Universal, and they go out there and they act as mouthpieces where at the same time, they're asking for voices of disagreeing opinions to be removed, as well as their competition. And that's what you're seeing right now with Samantha Bee. And if there's something that I have wrong, Samantha Bee, you'd be more than welcome to appear on this show and correct the record. Because I do have some evidence I'd like to go over with you and talk about as it relates to conservative shadow banning, conservative throttling, conservative outright banning. And I can actually just send you some screenshots of this channel, by the way,
Exactly.
along with every single news article that relates to the Vox apocalypse. Here's the thing. I think that you, Samantha Bee, are grossly overrated. I don't want to say grossly overrated. I think you're immensely untalented, unfunny, to a point that I very rarely use the word offensive, but you are offensively unfunny. And what bothers me even more is that a no-talent, mediocre nothing wants to remove voices simply because they disagree with her and they happen to be more successful than her. All right, you let me know what it would take to request that Samantha Bee be removed. I think it's great for her to be out there because I want you, by the way, everyone out there, when you think feminist, social justice warrior, leftist, okay? I want you to think Samantha Bee. So Samantha Bee, if we could get these uploads to a little more regular than once a quarter, because I know you need more time off, if you could start doing these every single day, I want you to be the ambassador. I want you to be emblematic of today's feminist, screeching, talentless left. I will go to the ends of the earth to defend your channel and your program to make sure that it is on the air for as long as humanly possible, so long as I don't have to watch it. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, subscribe or hit the notification bell and hit all notifications because not all notifications work now if you just hit the normal notification bell. I think there's some videos playing in boxes. But, of course, do consider subscribing at louderwithcrowder.com/mugclub because there's a bunch of content that could never make it onto YouTube. And I think the box is playing. There's a video playing in a box with